Hi, I had to drop in and just do this real quick. Um, it's Mercury retrograde. Yay! I've had a crazy week. Like everything has been a challenge. Dealing with people and getting things done correctly has been just an absolute challenge. And I don't really like to relive it and go through it, but I'll tell you what, I was about ready to just throw in the towel today and yesterday. It's just been so hard um, running business and people acting crazy. And I got new tires and they were put on incorrectly. And just everything seems to be just going wrong. And I was like, what in the heck? Is it Mercury retrograde or something? And lo and behold, it is. Every time I can call it. I know other planets go retrograde, but because of the type of world we live in, our society and the way it's constructed, Mercury retrograde is going to really impact us maybe more than any other planet. And I'll explain. I'm not an astrologer, so you can research more about this, but I'll just give you a quick rundown of what my understanding of Mercury retrograde is and how it works and how it will impact your life and how to kind of get through it. It's usually about 3 weeks. And I think we're about a week in, so it makes sense this whole week. Has this week been crazy for you? Um, first of all, let's say this is Mercury and this is Earth. Let's just assume that what we are told about how the planets work and everything going around the sun is true. Let's just assume that. So normally, let's say we're going around, let's see, how can I make this happen? It's going to be hard because you're in two dimensions. So let's say there's two cars on the road, right? And they're going around a curve. This car is going to get a little bit more ahead because they have less road to cover. But then at some point, it might happen that this car passes this one a little. This one's still moving forward even at the same speed, but the curves sometimes can make one car pass another car even if they're going basically the same speed. So what happens during Mercury retrograde is even though the planets are still moving forward, we're passing Mercury a little bit, so it's as if it's going backwards, but it isn't. The effect is the magnetic pull is pulling sort of backwards as we pull away, as we pull past it. That magnetic pull is retreating, retrograde. So instead of us just coming along and coming along at an even clip, it starts to pull backwards. And what this seems to do, and it has to be true because I can call it out every single time. And it happens about 3 times a year, 2 to 3 times a year, which is way too much as far as I'm concerned. So what happens is communications become strained. There's lots of miscommunications and misunderstandings, and technology can be interrupted. Like, you're suddenly, whatever technology you're using, everything's just more challenging, or it breaks, or it isn't firing up properly, or something like this. Any kind of electronics and technology and communications. So actual communications with people and the words and the conversations get all wacky doodle, right? And then the technology, especially the technology we use for communications, gets all whacked out, computers and phones and things like that. They say do not sign contracts during Mercury retrograde. Inevitably, there will be something wrong with that contract that's backwards, that you didn't notice, and that's going to basically screw you over. And I mean, God, I like had so many crazy things happen this week with with communications and people and stuff, but I don't know if I really want to go into it. You probably have had the same experiences, so we all go through it. Just know that it is an actual measurable electromagnetic shift that kind of makes everything go wonky. The way to deal with this, and I need to mark it on my calendar, I need to really block out those times for Mercury retrograde so that I know coming into it and can sort of prepare myself for the challenges that could ensue, or just go on vacation. Although they say travel can also be impacted. So if you're going to go on vacation, leave before Mercury retrograde and come back after. But travel, communications, and electronics, right? And you can look a lot more into this, but what you want to do during those times, and I wanted to do a video on another topic, but then I realized it's Mercury retrograde and it goes with Mercury retrograde. So like the other day I woke up and I'm just like, I feel weird. I feel some energetic like friction, like there's stress there that's not normally there. And I'm like, that's weird. What I'm going to do is just observe it, honor it, and allow it. I'm just going to accept that and allow it instead of fighting against it or whatever. I thought, is it because it's September now and the days are getting shorter? Maybe. We do get more tired as the days get shorter, the nights get longer. Of course, it's just going to get worse. Unless you go to the southern hemisphere, which I thought that would be a great idea for me, to be bi-hemispherical. But anyway, so all week I've been feeling this like internal friction, just where I just feel like keyed up or frustrated, kind of just like internally frustrated, which is unusual for me. But like I said, I just decided to allow it and go with the flow, drink more water, take more baths, try to just do the things that are naturally going to help anyway, but that help alleviate the feelings of those symptoms. So standing on bare earth, making sure I'm hydrated. I've been sleeping a bit more, even though my sleep quality has sort of sucked a little bit. How about you? Have you been experiencing any of these things this week? And maybe, hopefully what I'm saying, you'll be like, oh, now that makes sense. Oh, I didn't bring my water with me. So do a little bit of research into Mercury retrograde. Block out the weeks over the next year or so on your calendar, however long your calendar is, just so you're aware coming into it what to expect. And the way they say to prepare for it is to take that time to kind of go retrograde yourself. Take that time to reflect on sort of like the recent past. Like go back through and look at things, sort of analyze things, and that this is a really good time to do that because the energy will facilitate that better, because that's what the energy is literally doing. It's sort of a backwards pull in communication, travel, contracts, electronics, okay? So do the same thing in your life. Maybe I've actually been on YouTube and Twitter quite a bit more this week, actually, for some reason. And that's probably the opposite of what I really, really need to be doing. That would be good for me. I've been, because I'm here in Nevada and we've been getting a lot of calls for service at Burning Man because people are desperate to get out of there. We don't do Burning Man. We don't do that crowd. We don't do Coachella. We don't do physically dirty and mentally impaired. We do physically clean and mentally sober clients. Our clients are not on any kind of psychedelics or covered in sand or mud. It's just not what we do. But we've been getting a lot of calls, and the strange calls that I've been getting too is like just every call there's like an issue. Every person seems like they're literally trying to scam me and my company, which is the weirdest thing. It's like playing games. It's like they're hidden agendas. And that's what I mean by like, don't sign contracts. There's going to be something in there that's going to come back and bite you. Hidden agendas, backwards, confusion, misunderstandings, things like that. So, and I even warned one of my drivers. He was getting himself in a situation, and I said, you know what, don't do it. This is how it's going to play out if you do. And it's exactly how it played out. And he actually ended up firing himself, which is good because then I didn't have to do it. And he knew he screwed up and X'd himself out of the game. And you know, I tried to warn him. I saw it coming a million miles away, but people get greedy and people try to pull one over. So just be ready for this. You know, the other day I had new tires put on and one of the tires wasn't put on properly, and they let me drive off the lot with an improperly installed tire to the rim. And I was about to drive 6 people from the airport to up the mountain to Lake Tahoe, and I saw it and I was like, what is this? And ended up getting it fixed. But it was like, wow, you know, just double triple check everything. Keep your deals and things like that to a minimum. Probably take a break from the internet. Like, take a break if you can from kind of just like everything. I think that's the whole thing, is like travel, communications, contracts, electronics, just like personally, on a personal level, take a break. And I think you'll be happier. You'll be able to sort of avoid a lot of the conflict and confusion, because our world is so communications laden with electronics, and we're so super and over connected. We're going to feel the effects of this way more than probably any other planet going retrograde. And I don't know about any of the other planets going retrograde and its effects on us, but I know it every time Mercury retrograde rolls along. I don't have it mapped out on my calendar, so I don't really know it's coming, but I can feel it when it hits. And then I'm like, what is going on? So this is just an FYI. Mercury goes back direct on September 16th. So we've got a couple more weeks of this garbage. And so do your best to just allow the vibe in order to flow with the universal energies that are. Take more baths, drink more water, be with water, ground your feet on the earth, or your body, lay on the earth, and take care of yourself, and like give yourself a break if you can. So I repeated myself on each point a couple of times, but I think it's really important to let that sink in. And if you're able to just sort of unplug and take a break, I really highly recommend that. And just breathe. Breathe through it, and then in a couple of weeks, that kind of friction and tension will resolve itself, and things will start moving in the right direction again. And then it's good to start new projects. Then they say don't start new projects during Mercury retrograde. They'll just be laden with problems. No kidding. So right after Mercury retrograde, I'm going to go ahead and get my digital courses recorded for you guys. and, just keep it moving. I appreciate you being here with me. I know I've just got a new baby channel that's slowly growing. I hope you enjoy the content. Please do subscribe and like and share and hit the bell for notifications and everything. I've been trying to post more and do it every day, because I always have something that I really actually do want to share with you. I know that when we're on YouTube, there's a lot of crappy content that can draw us in. And when I'm on YouTube, I'm like, I wish there was just more content where we're getting good, positive information. Of course, there is, but we're also inundated with all this other junk. So, sort of what I feel like I'm able to do is bring a practical approach to trying to be more energetically sound in the real world. We can't just bail and be monks on the mountaintop, which the real spiritual exercise is to try to not attach to the extremes, positive or negative. To be a monk on the mountaintop means to just be balanced and not be triggered one way or the other by anything. And that helps to stop that karmic swing and that pendulum swing that drags us from pole to pole, positive to negative constantly, to really just be an objective observer with intention and action for the things you need to do and want to do. And I know when I've taken huge spiritual leaps, there's always then that regression, because we can't just grow in huge leaps without kind of returning back to where, so it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So don't take 2 steps forward, take 1 step forward and another step forward and another step forward. And that's sort of like, more balanced and you'll get there in the same amount of time without all the back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So a nice steady pace, nice and centered and balanced. And during this time of friction, just observe it. Don't attach to it. Don't get mad at it. Just observe it. Observe yourself, how you deal with it energetically, how it impacts you mentally, and circle it on your calendar for when it's coming. And that's it. I'm going to do that now on my calendar so I know when it's over and when it's coming next time. And if you're really interested in it, like I said, just Google it up and learn more about this. If you have been feeling like you've been impacted by it this week, then you definitely are sensitive like I am. So, and if you don't necessarily feel that, but you see other people around you kind of freaking out, it's good to know what you're seeing. Because you'll see that pattern pop up again, like if this is happening in the beginning of September, probably sometime in the spring, like mid to late spring, probably there would be another Mercury retrograde. Like I said, it's about 3 times a year. Yay. So that's it. I'm out of here. Have a great night. Do my meditation for manifestation. I just put up a new one a few days ago, and it walks you through building your interior space where you can manifest and have peace within, right? So